6:30 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting to order. Can we start with a roll call?
Mr. Palazzo.
Present.
Mr. Lightclough.
Present.
Ms. Rosenbaum.
Present.
Ms. Seiler. Ms. Peliquin.
Present.
Ms. Moore.
Present.
Ms. Tarko. Mr. Eckstein. Mr. Patterson.
Here.
Ms. Oglesby. Ms. Coetzee.
Present.
Ms. McGill.
Here.
And Chair Gunther.
I'm here.
And we have a quorum.
All right, next up is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did everybody receive the minutes via email? Have a chance to review them?
I had a chance to review them. I didn't see any errors in them. I actually moved to approve them.
I second them. We have a second. All those in favor of proceeding?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard? I think that passes. Real quickly before the department update, we have a new board member, Miss Barbara McGill. That was the name I heard? Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Usually we kind of try to introduce ourselves, just a brief synopsis of who we are and where we live, what our interest is related to parks, how we got here kind of thing. So, happy to start with you, or I could start if that makes you more comfortable. I'm Caleb Gunner, I'm the chair. I've been on the board on and off for the better part of half a decade or more. Work in Parks and Rec, live in District 1. Welcome aboard.
Alex Colazzo, President of Homestead Heights Civic Association. I've been doing a lot of volunteering with them, and one of the commissioners invited me since we've been very involved in a lot of the school projects and the advocating for the public school board and stuff like that. So.
Charlie Lightclough, District 4, been on the board about 4 or 5 years. Just doing parks and stuff in the southwest section. Grew up in Fort Lauderdale, did all the parks and rec stuff, so here I am.
My name is Don Eckstein. I've been on the Parks and Recs board on and off for, mainly off there for 5 years, and live in Middle River Terrace.
I'm Michelle Coetzee, and I'm also kind of new on the Parks Board, and very excited to be here. I'm on the Beach Alliance District, and I've been on several other boards in the city, but this is my favorite so far.
Oh, good. Barbara McGill, I'm from Lauderdale Harbors, which is District 4. I'm their past president of 7 years. And so I kind of stopped doing that, and I was on the council for many years, and I kind of got kicked off. Not from Mary, just when new people came in. So this is just another way to serve. I love parks, I love beaches. I was a professional athlete, and a gym rat growing up, so I have a lot in the recreation, and it's the only thing I'm uniquely qualified for in the city. So.
Welcome.
I'm Zilla Tarko. I also live in District 1 in Gorridge. And I started, in April of last year. And I grew up at the parks. That's how I got my start. So might as well, when I came back to Fort Lauderdale, I joined. So.
Hi, my name is Tangerine Moore. I'm out of District 3. I have a new commissioner, Ms. Pamela Pittman. I've been on the board for about 2 years. Just learning about the city of Fort Lauderdale because I wasn't born in the city of Fort Lauderdale, but moved in the city of Fort Lauderdale, and just opportunity to serve my community.
Brett Patterson. I'm pretty new as well. I think this is my 3rd or 4th session here. Been in recreation all my life. I live over by Croissant Park. Soccer season just started at Holiday Park, so I coach boys 11 and 12. Volunteer. So this is near and dear to my heart, and I'm happy to participate and contribute.
I'm Mary Peliquin. I think I've been on this board for 3 years, which means I think you have too, because we started at the same time. And I live in Coral Ridge also, District 1. I've been on the Coral Ridge board for on and off, seems like forever. I am the president of the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Association, which Barbara was a big part of, and I really miss her every day. And I use many of the parks. I swim 4 mornings a week at our new aquatic center. Before that, it was at Carter Park and various other parks that had a pool. George Inglis Park is right around the corner from my house. I go to art lessons at Southside. And so I love the parks, and I'm happy to be here.
That was good, Mary.
Yeah.
I'm Debbie Rosenbaum, I'm vice chair of this committee, and I used to be president of Central Beach Alliance, so I was always part of the beach and the Barrier Island, and I'm an avid swimmer along with Mary, and very much have been involved with the aquatic complex since 1997, so I pretty much live in the water. So I'm very much proud to be a member of this committee.
Thank you. Item 1, Carl.
Well, good evening, everyone. For the newer members, I'm Carl Williams. I'm the Parks and Recreation Deputy Director. And so welcome.
Mr. Chair, the minutes were approved, right?
Yes.
Oh,
It was like,
I just wanted to say.
Do you
Yeah,
need
we
a head count?
No, I didn't call it. Okay,
It was second.
it was
by
second?
the vice chair, yes.
Okay.
Make sure everybody speaks up when they have something you want to
No,
put
we
in
were
the
just
minutes.
rectifying whether the minutes were approved because Stephanie had stepped away from her chair. I told her
Okay.
they were, but I just wanted to make sure with the chair.
Thank you.
sorry.
Oh, good. So I do have a couple things I want to share. I'll be brief. As you know, our aquatic complex, we had a soft opening, and this Saturday we'll have the official grand opening of the Fort Lauderdale Aquatic Center. That's this Saturday at 11 a.m. I'll be there, and several of our city staff will be there. I look forward to seeing some of you. I know our vice chair will be speaking. So if you have a free moment, feel free to come on out. And also, some of you all at some point mentioned interest regarding the DC Alexander project. So that particular project will be starting soon, actually. Matter of fact, as soon as groundbreaking is February 16th. And so that particular project will begin soon. There'll be more details that'll come out shortly, a flyer, and I'll make sure that we circulate it to the board. But that particular groundbreaking ceremony will take place at 1 o'clock on the 16th of February. And that concludes my department.
Is it the same design that we all approved about, seems like so long
With the
ago?
awning and the,
Yes.
the circle going up and stuff like that.
Right here.
And we'll also share with you the design once I get it, and I'll share it to the board.
Okay, I like it.
It was kind of put on pause for funding or something.
Well, part of the funding went to the pool.
The new
So we had to
building.
find some,
It implied new funding. Yeah, in order to finish the pool, they kind of.
Oh, sure, I know. Yeah, I just want to make sure.
that's it.
Any questions for Carl?
Regarding the opening, I see some things at South Beach. Is that what they're fencing off the area for, or is there a concert?
No, so there's a Pixar at the Loop,
Okay.
and that is probably what that is.
Is that a permanent exhibit?
No, it's temporary. It will be here.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it's really neat. I want to say it'll be here maybe a week or so. Don't
It's
quote
really
me on the time, but
short-lived.
yeah, it'll be
It's
here.
$22 to play it, somebody told me.
To play putt golf?
Yeah, is that
seems like-
right?
that seems a little expensive.
So our
I don't know if that's really true.
our contracted group, I forget the formal name, but Ari, whom heads it, kind of put together a lot of the work to get that done. I'm not really sure of the cost because that kind of doesn't really involve us, but there is a Pixar public.
my neighbor went with like their 3 kids and they went, cost a lot, $22 a kid or something like that.
And what's the event on the beach right now, where they closed the parking lot today?
So that is the NHL All-Star Weekend. That load in started today and load out will be 7 days after. So a total of 14 days the NHL will be on the beach property.
South Beach parking lot.
Yeah, that's $22.
What is $22?
It is $22. It doesn't matter if you putt in the morning, putt in the afternoon, or putt at night, it's $22. I like to drive longer than that.
Any other questions for Carl, or should we move forward with the Collier Group presentation? That hurts. Collier's up.
Good evening, everyone. Again, Ken Perez now from Colliers. I'm here with my associate with Brookport. So there are some new people here. We are the city's real estate advisor and have been working on trying to acquire new park space. And so we are bringing a property for your consideration. So just a little recap again for some of the new members. The board of the $200 million that was passed a couple of years ago, $30 million was earmarked for acquisitions. We've acquired 4 properties, just so happens they're evenly distributed between each of the districts. As you see there, we've spent approximately $7.8 million, which leaves us roughly $22 million for acquisitions. We've acquired 4.5 acres of new green space. Again, just to reiterate some of the challenges that we are faced with is obviously a strong real estate market, being sensitive to the neighbors and the neighborhood considerations. Some people, believe it or not, that want to park in their immediate vicinity. So,
Really?
yes,
NIMBY, yes.
They don't wanna park in their neighborhood.
some people, yes.
Some people.
Also environmental issues, but really the big issue is our timeline. There's a very detailed and methodical process anytime a public entity acquires a piece of property in terms of appraisals and due diligence and so on and so forth. A lot of times before a property is listed, it's usually sort of out of our control. So most of what we're doing is looking for properties off market, not necessarily actively marketed. Some of the areas of focus, again, just to bring everybody back, there was a study done a couple of years ago, the 10-minute sort of ideal walkability. So we've identified areas of need all over the city, so we're continue to scour those areas. Obviously looking for scarce property on the water, large corner lots, large tracts of land, and lately we've been focused on some infill, some neighborhood parks, Coral Ridge, and again, specifically looking at some waterfront property. So the property today for your consideration is within an area of need in District 1, in Coral Ridge Isles. The address there, as you see, 1741 Northeast 58th Street. The area of need that is now yellow was in a different color, but now with a park presumably in that area, it now falls out of a specific area of need. So this property is clearly identified in an area of need. So this gives you an aerial view of the property. I mentioned the address. It's land size of 22,000 or about half an acre, with a 2,200 square foot residence on the property. It's a unique property. As you can see, it's kind of a double lot with the property, the house in the front and the open land kind of in the back. The purchase price that we have the property under agreement for today is 1.55 million. It is listed on the market with a residential realtor for 1.6, right?
Yep.
1.595. Very adamant on staying to that price. We did have 2 appraisals done, as you can see there, were approximately $150,000 over the appraisals. I can get into some of the attributes of that, but generally speaking, we're within range of appraisal. As I said before, one of the unique aspects of this property is the back portion, which is, we were actually looking at this property a year or 2 ago, just the back. The owner was interested in potentially selling just the back and was gonna stay in the front. The back, as you can see in some of these other properties, is effectively already configured as a park. A lot of the properties that we acquire have to do a certain amount of work to them, and so there's a certain amount of money that we kind of expect going into this. But as you can see, this is already, it's nicely landscaped and it's effectively, set up as a passive park, which is why we were trying to buy it, almost 2 years ago. The owner ultimately decided not to sell the park, took it off the market. We stayed in touch with him, and then he ultimately decided to sell the whole kind of kit and caboodle, which is kind of where we are today. So again, just to kind of, I think that was it, but just to give you a perspective again, we're at 1.55 for this kind of unique property that we think, satisfies a certain number of the needs. Again, area of need, kind of a pocket park need, and it's already, like I said, already positioned as a park. What they do with the front, with the house, you'll figure that out, later on. And that is all we have for you today.
How much are they asking for?
He's asking 1.595, 1.6 basically, and was firm in terms of saying that's my price, take it or leave it kind of perspective.
And
You don't have to-
the appraisal is 1.4?
The average of the 2 appraisals was around 1.4. Again, it's a unique property because of the park-like nature in the back, not necessarily reflected, in the appraisal perspective. I mean, they looked at it as a house with a big lot, not a house with a park.
Right.
Yes.
Howard, I'm sorry.
Can we raise hands for this meeting because
Oh,
Yes,
there's so
yes.
many of us?
Yeah, that's my
Okay,
Thank you.
I don't know who you're called on.
Mary, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, my question is, I know this area is desperately in need of parks. How is the neighborhood around there? Has anybody really done any kind of a talk to the neighbors that live in this particular?
Yeah, I
Street.
mean, let's see here, prior commissioner I know had spoken with the HOAs, and I believe we're scheduled to talk to them on the 15th.
Oh, okay, well, she probably knows.
Yeah, because they were involved. Hi,
Okay.
Melissa. I work with Commissioner Herbst.
Melissa, your last name?
Whitten, Whidden. They were in favor of it, and then I got an email last week saying that the board met and they are not really non-favor, but are questioning about it now. I don't know the reason for that, but I think that's why you guys are meeting with them.
So we, as I said before, we're very sensitive in making sure that before we bring it, to you and so on and so forth, we either go through, the commissioner's office and make sure that the surrounding HOAs are comfortable with it and so on and so forth. As we said, when we looked at this a year and a half ago, they were very, supportive of it. We've stayed in touch, and like I said, we're gonna present to their board or their HOA meeting, not the board, but the
And
whole HOA
Commissioner
meeting.
Herbst he would like to support this, so.
What would you envision this particular park to be? Just one where one could sit and stroll, or will there be play areas for children?
We don't get involved in the, what's called the activation part, that's for the experts
Would
like
that
Carl
not
and Phil.
influence the neighborhood?
So I'll kind of chime in. So the idea, so to kind of lay some context, whenever we acquire property from the bond, it's just that, just the acquisition. We haven't gotten to the point as far as to programming or activating it. However, the thought is that it would be a passive park for the area.
Yes, because you were first.
So I know we looked at, remember that bigger property kind of in the same area on the water?
Yeah.
It was a
How
building,
far is
apartment
that from
The one that
this?
we got thrown out in last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
That one.
That's too bad.
How far was that from this location? Cause I know the neighborhood was excited about that to some extent. How far are they from each other?
it's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's off, right off Dixie Highway and 59th Street, so.
Yeah.
And that other one, how much was that again?
It was a lot.
It
That
was a
was a-
lot.
that was a
7 million.
Like
multifamily
7, right?
building.
It was an apartment building,
Yeah.
Yeah.
huge
I was just
parking
trying to
lot.
think in scope.
Yeah.
It's the same area, yeah.
I think this is much more in line with what we were thinking for that neighborhood than the other one.
I have a question, like, it's gonna be a record-breaking sale at the end of the day for a house in that neighborhood. There hasn't been anything on, even on the water, basically, in that area. They go for like 1.2, 1.3 in that area on the water, and this is not on the water, and this is 1.55, and it was on the market for a really long time.
But it's also worth considering that it's already somewhat of a park.
Yeah, I think that's
And
the,
We won't
And
have to
could sell
wait
that
to build
separately
anything.
at some
on it.
again,
point.
he
Yeah,
was
but it-
looking at separating it at one point,
But what did he buy it for? And it was cheaper, right?
I mean,
It was a lot cheaper.
I'm curious, on the Broward County Properties appraiser, you got your land value and you got your improvement value. We're gonna be demolishing improvements to make a park. We can't keep a building there, so the question is, what's the difference in those values? Just land value on the appraiser's website.
I don't know if you have that.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know that the building is going to be demolished, again, that's something that it might be some kind of community center or something.
Yeah, but the
That
the
was
That
expense
was
to
weighed
make
in
it
last
ADA
time when we were looking at the
compatible
apartment.
usually exceeds the cost of the building itself.
Yeah, again,
And that's what we found in other areas.
But my question would be is, if that house remains empty, who's going to monitor that house so that you don't get squatters in it?
again, that's something that they'll,
I mean, that could be an issue for the neighborhood.
Well,
I doubt that the house.
the solution they came up with at the Riverland Preserve in my community was, we had a house here that looks huge in the street. Unfortunately, it's not that deep.
Ah.
Okay, it's wide but not that deep. And the money to make it ADA compatible was about $250,000, if I remember correctly. So what they did, we had some vandals in the area. Well, they went ahead and fixed that situation, but then they offered it up to a police officer to rent or stay in the place. So he keeps kind of having his car out front, keeps an eye on the place.
Right.
And plus, this particular park has a nice gate, fence around it, so at dusk it gets locked up and,
Just like a regular park.
it's like a regular park. So we have had no problems with this park whatsoever since he's been there. So that was the solution to take care of the man.
What's the history with the other properties that they've acquired? I mean, they haven't had any issues with water.
Clear lots.
Okay.
You know, when you speak in that direction,
Yeah, we can't hear
no
you.
one down here can hear.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So
I have no idea what
It sounds like the community needs a park, but I'm interested what we've done in the past without knowing what the community's concern is. Like, what is, because I feel like that's a big piece of this, right? What does the community want?
Are you asking for our vote tonight on this?
yes,
Can we do it subject to their HOA meeting and maybe come back?
I would venture to say that even if you voted yes and we went to the HOA meeting and, when the pitchforks were out and they didn't want it, that we would probably not, go forward anyway.
Say it again, so you say you're gonna go forward with the purchase anyway?
No, we would not.
Oh, would
I mean,
not,
again, I
okay.
think, we've taken properties way down the road and found out that there is some community, opposition at some point in time. and generally speaking, we're erring on the side of, if people don't want it, we're not gonna do it.
And
shove
the
it down their
reason
throat.
also is, like he said, we have to kind of stay in the strict time. My name's Brooke Mosier with Colliers. We're trying to stay in our due diligence timeframe because we're under contract, so if we were to present to them on the 15th, your meeting then would have been kind of too late, so we wanted to come to you now so we could make sure we were in the due diligence.
Hi, Barbara McGill. I'm a little confused, so you already under contract for the 1.55, even though he was asking 1.6 something?
Mhm.
Okay, and then how big is the if you separated the building and the area, what's the size of just the passive park area there? Or the backyard?
It says 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's about, I was gonna say it's about half, it says it right there.
10,000 square feet, you can see passive part of the piece of property. So about a quarter of an acre, thereabouts.
Okay, so if that part is the passive part, is there can you put a playground though in the area where the house is? Is that feasible? And then how would parking work?
So the idea behind like properties similar to this is that people typically don't drive up to them, they would walk to them. And so it would service the immediate area of the neighborhood. And again, it really is gonna be contingent on what the residents in the area want in the area, and then we'll kind of cater to that. So we don't really have any more plans other than the acquisition at this point, and then we'll assess if the building stays, if it goes, if there's plans to do any kind of upgrades, amenities, that type of thing would be later taking place.
Would they possibly use half the park, half the property as a park and then sell the house as a residence and, to sort of offset the costs? Would that be something that?
Yeah, I would
the
say
city-
anything's on the table. I think at this point, when we're kind of identifying bond funds to acquire properties, anything would probably be in the interest, whatever's in the best interest of the city and the feedback that we get from the neighborhood, that's how we would proceed.
I'll move to approve, subject to the HOA meeting.
I'll second it.
All those I guess it's a roll call vote, correct? Okay.
We need a specific wording on the,
Mr. Chair, we need to clarify Ms. Seiler's motion, subject to the meeting approved by the HOA?
Subject to approval by the HOA.
Okay.
So you're moving to,
Move to
But
approve
there
the
should be a
purchase,
timeline on
subject
that
to
approval.
approval of the HOA. Well, the
No.
meeting's on
We don't need that.
Oh,
Would it be the HOA or the whole neighborhood?
I'm not sure.
I think the HOA is the neighborhood.
Yeah,
The
civic,
Oh,
it's
okay.
really the civic
Voting for
association,
it,
and yes,
per se.
it would be up to them.
Well, I can't say as long as there's no uproar.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
I think upon approval of the civic association, and that's up to them to do that or
Well,
not.
from what I understand, we wouldn't, if the pitchforks come out, as you said,
We're not gonna.
we're not gonna purchase it
Yeah,
anyway.
I
So
think-
I don't
I
think we
trust you.
You're gonna have to rely on the fact that, it's not gonna be unanimous, right? There's
Yeah.
gonna be somebody that's gonna say whatever, for whatever reason, but generally speaking, if they're for it, we're gonna move forward. We'll sense if the room is not for it, then we will, then we won't.
So
So
I'm comfortable with that, so general contentment of the HOA.
Well, we have to list the purchase price and all that other stuff.
For the purchase price of 1.55 million.
Right.
do we need to put all that into the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Can somebody recap that for me?
I move to approve the purchase of 1741 Northeast 58th Street, Fort Lauderdale, for the purchase price of 1.55 million, subject to the general contentment of the HOA at their meeting on the 15th,
February
February 15th.
February
2023.
And I second it.
All right, let's do a roll call. Mr. Palazzo,
Approve.
Mr. Lightfoot.
Approve.
Ms. Rosenbaum.
Approve.
Ms. Seiler. Ms. Peliquin.
Approve.
Ms. Moore.
Approve.
Ms. Tarco. Mr. Eckstein.
Approved.
Mr. Patterson.
Approve.
Ms. Pottsy.
Approved.
Not approved?
Approved.
Ms. McGill. And Chair Gunter.
Approved.
Motion carried.
Just to clarify, now that we got it approved, so this process, now you guys make an offer, is that right, or you gotta go to the city commission first?
We go out, we try to acquire these properties, we try to get them under contract so that we can't, once this is public, for people to start, bidding
Yeah.
against us or for the owners to start raising their price. As Brooke said, we're in a due diligence period. At any point during 90 days, we could say, we don't want it.
Yeah.
HOA, you guys, whatever, we could walk away, no cost, no foul, no harm. So that's where we are now. We're in that 90-day due diligence period, which is why we had to schedule your meeting, the HOA meeting, and then bring it to the commission for all of those approvals so that everybody is on board and we stay within our.
And you guys have to present to the civic associations in order to kind of feel them out?
Sometimes,
Or does somebody from the city
commissioner
go?
feedback comes through and people are clamoring for it, we get,
Yeah.
Sometimes they bring it to us,
Right.
the properties,
Yeah.
you know.
So we generally get a lot of the feedback, sometimes though we've done a bunch of,
Okay.
HOA individual meetings over the course of the last couple of years.
How many days left of due diligence of the 90 days? How many days are left?
I think it expires sometime in mid-March.
Mid-March.
Yeah, we're trying to get on a March commission meeting.
Is the homeowner aware of who's actually purchasing the property?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we've been speaking with him for a year or two.
No, but do they know it's the city of Fort Lauderdale
Yes,
wants to
for
buy
a
it
park.
for a park?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Just give a notice, there may be public comment desired on this. Was anybody here to speak on this property acquisition? No?
I have a question about that. In the future, does it make sense to get that comment before we vote?
Probably.
We're supposed to.
I didn't. It wasn't brought much to my attention.
Had there been comments, we could have.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Before we get my green shirt next time.
Thank you, Ken.
Have a good one, good evening.
Next up is the War Memorial update.
That's exciting. I wanna go.
We need to get a tour of this facility, that's what I want.
I do realize All-Star.
Yeah, the Alliance got a tour.
You what?
I didn't realize the NHL All-Star Weekend was.
Oh, but I wanna tour the facility.
Yeah, did you hear these? When I just had the Alliance got a tour behind the scenes.
What?
The Alliance got a behind the scenes tour. That's what we're looking for.
Yes, we wanted it behind the scenes.
Like the Alliance tour, I heard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go get a tour.
Yeah, on a day that's not our meeting, could we do
Right, we
that?
want a tour.
We can absolutely do a tour.
Cool. That would be great.
All
That's
right.
exciting.
And we know a guy and girl who can give you a tour.
This is a fun board.
He knows a guy
I
who
mean, a
knows a
little bit
girl.
of fun.
You know a girl, you know a guy that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bryce Holwig, Chief Operating Officer for the Florida Panthers. I'm joined by Melissa Fitzgerald. She's the General Manager of what will soon be the Baptist Health Iceplex and the War Memorial Auditorium. So Melissa is a great acquisition of ours. She ran the San Jose Sharks training facility, so largely ingrained in the community and what a training facility and community ice rinks mean to Parks and Rec and folks like you and your constituents, if you will. So I'll speak a little bit, and then I'm gonna pass it over to Melissa, and I may take it back, and we can both field any questions you got. So where do we start with here? The War Memorial. Who knows what it is? Anyone not know what it is? What we've been doing there?
We know.
Great. So
Piece of history.
So if you're not familiar, we
went into a P3 with the city to develop the War Memorial and then build 2 community ice rinks along with a restaurant and a retail shop at Holiday Park. I'm sure most of you know, I don't have to bore you with, not bore, it's a great facility, but go over the history of the War Memorial and what it's meant to your community for lots of years. The Iceplex, just want to go over timeline, obviously ran into the classic COVID supply chain delays, so we're a little bit behind. But the 2 ice rinks, along with the restaurant and the retail shop, is scheduled to be open this summer, so June, July timeframe. We'll give as much information as we can leading up to the opening and the grand opening, and but we're pretty excited about that, and we seem to be on time for it now that we're getting a little bit closer. So again, in coordination with the city, the Viola family, took this on themselves to fund it privately and to give back to the community, which is really big for our organization, the Viola family. So again, other than the couple hours of ice that the team will be using in the mornings when they're in town, that's gonna be open to all the programs that you see up there, everything from youth league to adult league, to curling. We don't have curling at the Coral Springs facility right now. Melissa's like, for corporate events and things like that, we've decided to invest in that programming as well. So we're pretty excited for that to come online.
Should probably do some of that, like Top Golf kind of thing with the curling and do events for people to
Yeah.
just do, fun corporate things.
Exactly. I think that was the thought process behind it.
advisory boards.
Yeah, great for an advisory board. We can go curling.
I wanna learn. I still don't understand it. I know there's a broom involved.
You don't have to understand it. That's the beauty of it. So, for those not familiar, not involved in previous discussions, we're really replicating what we're doing at the Panthers Ice Den and just moving it to the War Memorial and the Baptist South Iceplex. We're gonna retain control, ownership, whatever operation of the Coral Springs, so it really gives us a good footprint to grow the game and provide some community events and recreation throughout Broward County. The War Memorial Auditorium, looking a little bit further on, kind of by design from the ice rinks. You really don't want to open 2 of those massive facilities all at once. But with the War Memorial, partnered with Live Nation for music, concerts, and then other private events that are going to take place in that facility. So, I know there's been years of graduations that have gone in there, and weddings and bar mitzvahs and all types of events. So looking forward to fully renovating that and bringing it back and giving you guys a tour whenever you like. Any questions? Yes, sir.
So I think Pride happened there, right? Wasn't there Pride events in this facility?
It was out either inside or outside. Yes.
Yeah, there were several. We had car shows,
Car
antique shows,
shows,
art market shows.
Promenade was back there many.
Promenade did for years.
I'm a newer resident, just under 2 years of Fort Lauderdale, so you would know a lot more than myself of the activations and programming.
And WA Wrestling too was
I
there.
remember.
Is that something that would still happen? Just remember, from a community standpoint.
We're open to everything, so it's a community asset that we will program, accordingly. Any other questions on this slide? We got a cool video. The mayor and Commissioner Glassman visited us a couple weeks ago. We gave them kind of the hard hat tour, which we're often asked to give. And I think we can send the video.
Where'd they go? What's the seating gonna be for the War Memorial side of the?
So the capacity will be about 3,500. Seating, in order to not compete with the Parker, the Playhouse, it's really not theater seating, so it's a lot of GA standing room on the floor, and then we do have mezzanine seating upstairs.
Are there gonna be suites?
There will be premium areas, yes.
I just have a question. So Parker's and like the concerts here, do you know yet? Like, I know it's early, but like what would be the difference, or would they be similar? Or?
Some may be similar. you haven't seen the Parker beautiful renovation, by the way.
I was there last night.
You know, I think that their,
You're going back to see Body, aren't you?
you know, their programming is a lot more theatrical and Broadway and that sort of stuff. But they have the full gamut of shows, whoever wants to play in there. Ours will be, you know, a lot more indie bands, up and coming bands where you want a GA kind of standing room area. That's not to say that we won't have orchestra in there on the floor, so, you know, we're open to programming that however we see fit, whatever works.
Groups that might play Revolution live, probably.
Yeah, I think we just have a greater capacity, I think, the Revolution.
Are the hockey practices open to the public?
Yep. Yep.
But the games will still be held out west.
Yeah, we gave about 70,000 seats. This isn't the Panthers of like 20 years ago where you couldn't give away tickets. We're almost selling out every game now. So.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
Are we able to get the video?
Yes, he has.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it clicking the link? Does he know that?
You know, he has the,
We're just gonna stare here.
I know, right? Just wait.
Picture.
So we're gonna take curling lessons?
Yeah.
We're gonna have curling lessons while we wait. There's a big question living in my mind.
Curling while you're, it's like shuffleboard on ice.
Really,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm kinda worried about actually skating, you know, with our age, we fall
No,
on
I
our
don't
hips
think,
and
they
stuff.
don't think they do it on skates. I think they do it on some type of.
One skater, I don't know,
You have slider.
a slider, oh, see.
Yeah, that's good.
And you're kneeling a lot of times, so you're not have far to fall. This is important. For Charlie and I, this is important.
Oh, wait a minute, you're throwing me into.
Dragging you out onto the ice.
69.
This is our sport.
If you'd like to probably come back to it. I'll hold your presentation.
It's like the painkiller.
Okay, yeah, if it pops up, I will stop in place.
Okay, thank you.
We'd already mentioned, maybe strategically in the previous briefing that Mr. Krause was giving about the All-Star game. So we're gonna head to this. We're excited to host the NHL All-Star game. Actually kicks off on Sunday, and I'll go through a list of events that are happening in Fort Lauderdale and in the Parks and Rec, I guess, kind of purview, including Holiday Park and the beach. So the NHL signature events, February 3rd, Friday, next Friday, is the skills competition. And then the Saturday is the actual All-Star game. So again, we're gonna go through a list of events here. I think we're gonna start off with Melissa, who's really owning the event. No, I lied. This is the event that kicks it off. So this Sunday, we're partnering with the city. You come in to give me a video here? Thank you.
Today's been unbelievable. You know, I haven't been here in a few weeks, and even just in that short amount of time, the progress is incredible.
So what we have visited here today is the fulfillment of a vision that we never thought could ever be realized. We have the Panthers moving east side.
I've been very excited about this project since the commission first approved it. But to see what this is going to bring to Holiday Park in terms of just for families alone, with the skating, watching the teams practice, the restaurant, so this is very exciting. The progress is great. I cannot wait to come back.
We're so excited to be able to launch this to the city and really something for everyone. Not just where the Panthers are gonna practice and train, but we're gonna have figure skating, curling, public skating, adult league. We have a restaurant partnering with the Nullhard Group. We're gonna have an arcade here. It's really gonna be something for everyone and really a prize in the city. Cool.
Nice. Very well.
That's our brief. Any questions? So where was I? So Sunday's really kicking off our portion. We have the luxury of being able to plan around the NHL of kind of our signature events of what we're doing with the community, and Sunday partnering with the city on the beach suite. So the timing's out there, 9 o'clock, and we will, and our beach is pretty clean. We may pick up a few cigarette butts, but we'll we'll have a big activation on Los Olas and A1A when we're starting out, and make a good event of it, so. Everyone is willing to join, it's obviously a free event, we'll pass this information around, if it hasn't already made it to you, so we've been sending this around to the city commissions and mayor's offices and county commissions and all that, so. Happy to answer any more questions on this particular event, if any, if not, I'll move on.
So what are you actually doing where the beach parking lot is? What is gonna happen there?
So the NHL is actually taking over that spot, for their Saturday evening event after this All-Star game. So they're doing a Tortuga style,
Oh, really? Who's coming?
follow-up. I don't know if that's public knowledge yet, so.
Now it is.
Cat's out of the bag
Get
now.
out of the minutes.
So that's a public event or it's just for the all, for
That
the
that's a private event, yeah. However, Thursday through Sunday is the open access free event, which is called the blank screen.
Ta-da.
How do we get an invite to the private event?
Come on.
Hey, you gotta ask.
You can take a vote.
Yeah, I so move.
I second.
See if we can get back in there. So from Thursday through Sunday is the NHL Fan Fest. So they're gonna have everything from, rinks, not with ice, but rinks built out there for all the trophies out there, including the Stanley Cup out there, for photo opportunities. It'll be a big activation, so they're taking over that parking lot for their logistics essentially.
so that's all gonna happen on the beach then?
That's
or-
correct. Yeah.
So can people be able to park there? Cause they
It's a parking
shut the
garage.
park, pardon me?
The parking garage.
But no, where the beach
No, the parking
lot
garage is on Los Olas, so.
Yeah.
So this is, where this activation is happening is south. So closer to, if you're coming down 17th, make a
Probably
left,
they could move.
where Tortuga and Odyssey Beach.
With Yankee Clipper.
South Beach.
Yeah.
Right, no, I know where it is, you displaced
Yes, I
all the
think she was
volleyball
confused.
players to
Yeah.
Los Olas,
So that
I-
whole parking lot, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have
so,
to move.
but so how do you park at that if they've taken over the whole parking lot?
So
The
they've
garage.
taken over a portion of South Beach lot, not the entire lot.
Okay.
But you also have the garage.
Yeah, that's what I said.
There'll be the shuttle, the all that.
Are you on a practice on Saturday?
I'm gonna do the grand opening,
Oh, good.
if I can park my car somewhere.
You get there at like 10 o'clock and just schmooze.
So the main event is gonna be on A1A in Las Olas, the loop, is that?
No, that's just where we're activating the
Okay.
beach sweep. Yeah, so the main activation will be, I think it's the
Everybody
Fort
will be
Lauderdale
getting in the
Beach Park.
pool.
Where did you say the trophies and everything were gonna be?
That'll be at the Fort Lauderdale Beach Park, so where they set up Tortuga and the beach.
Okay, so
Odyssey Beach Fest, yeah.
until that, just that one day that they're gonna close it down, there'll be access there
Um,
to walk in, not work.
no, so the Beach Fest, this one will be from the 2nd to the 4th. So it'll be, starting on the Thursday and run all weekend. And that's open to the public, no admission fee. Bring whoever you like there. Any questions on this?
What's involved in the kids,
They have all sorts of
bounce
stuff,
houses
like I
and stuff?
said, they'll have the mascots playing, they'll have opportunities with makeshift rinks out there for kids to play, so. And I went to this last year, typically they do this in a convention center, which is, okay, awesome. Us and the NHL really felt if we weren't doing stuff outside and on the beach, then we really failed with this event, so.
I love the idea.
So we are very pleased that we get to showcase, and this will be on ESPN, well, we're gonna get good weather.
Right.
This will be on ESPN, this will be, nationally broadcast, probably internationally broadcast, so a lot of exposure
Well,
for
I
us.
watch Sports Center Saturday morning, so maybe they'll.
Colony Park, Signature Sweat.
Alright. So first of all, so excited to be here with all of you. Really excited about the project. And I've already had the honor of being able to start working with Carl and the staff and the opportunity to have an arena and the auditorium space in the middle of and in partnership with a park and rec department is really fabulous and just gives us the opportunity to really reach out and try to get out to the whole city, and particularly the kids, and get them in and make sure we can do some good stuff. So having said that, we're excited because on the morning of the All-Star Game, the Panther signature event is going to be at Holiday Park, sort of our first opportunity to celebrate our upcoming building and partnership. We've invited Alexis Brown, who runs what she calls Saturday Sweat, an activation with open to everyone, particularly targeting the Black and Brown communities in the area, to really focus on health and wellness and fitness in an effort to try to address some of the chronic long-term kinds of health risks that can be mitigated with a healthy lifestyle. So she will be bringing in great fitness instructors. People can come, they can exercise in the park, food trucks, small business and minority-owned vendors, and then of course, she brings a live DJ. There'll be music, dancing. There'll be activations that we're bringing to the table in terms of fan activations, inflatables, video game trucks, and others. We will have a player appearance. I don't think I'm allowed to say who yet, but I guarantee anyone who shows up will not be disappointed. And then in addition to that, we're also offering Give Ball Hockey a Try for free on the opposite side of the building. This Saturday Sweat is going to be in the grassy area between the Parker and the War Memorial. And we'll be parking cars on the north side of our complex so that it hopefully will not interfere. I hear the soccer parent down there, and we have heard loud and clear from the staff about the concerns about making sure that we're doing something wonderful without interfering with a lot of people coming for soccer and other activities. So we're hoping we've got parking covered for people coming in, and then people in the park will, when they're coming and going from games or other activities, that they're gonna stop by, they're gonna take advantage of what we're offering. The ball hockey, we have discovered since we first started planning, this is also gonna be a kickoff for an exciting partnership with the NHL. That they are using this as what they call their legacy project, where they invest, when they come into an all-star city, they invest a not insignificant amount of money in a community project that will have long-lasting benefits out in the community. So they're going to be partnering with us to do some renovations of the ball hockey, roller hockey rink, and having some funds that would then be available for rolling out programming. Carl and Phil and some of our staff members in community development and I talked a few weeks ago about the idea of us trying to come in and really help to activate by teaching the instructors who already exist within Parks and Rec, within schools, within after-school programs. And I'm super excited about the idea of hopefully being able to hand over some resources, equipment, and knowledgeable instructors so that this can become another week that the district can offer out to kids, along with the things that we would be doing there. We certainly, in addition to what eventually we'll be doing inside the building, we also want to keep doing outside free give it a try. It's just ways of getting the kids in the most affordable, accessible way possible. And an outdoor rink is a fabulous place to start. So I know I'm digressing about that, but I'm excited about it. And we will have personnel from the NHL. There'll be a press conference around 9 o'clock on Saturday morning on the roller rink. Along with, we're gonna have some of our city officials, the mayor and some of the commissioners coming out to the Saturday Sweat to meet and greet and talk. So it's just gonna be a big celebration, a big party. We hope anyone here who has the time will come and join us. And as I said, for me, it's just exciting because it's really our first opportunity to have a community activation and start to, be able to interact with the neighborhood. So, any questions on that?
I have a quick question. Try ball hockey for free, do you have to bring your own skates or do you supply
There are
them?
no skates. That's the beauty of this. This is one of the NHL's newest initiatives. Roller hockey was like a really big thing a while ago and then kind of dwindled out. And one of the reasons was because there were still accessibility issues. Roller blades became more and more expensive, and quite frankly, during COVID, you couldn't get a pair to save your life. A lot of people who were shut out of ice rinks were trying to find rollerblades, and they weren't available. We want, and the NHL wants to be able to get as many kids and adults out as possible to just get a stick in their hand and a ball or a puck on the ground and just let them see what it feels like to play hockey. And so this is in tennis shoes. Anybody coming, please share it with all your fellow soccer parents. Anyone in tennis shoes or any kind of soft-soled shoes can come out. We will have the rest of the gear. We'll have instructors out there to help get them started. 9 to 10 is going to be more of, I don't want to say an orchestrated event, but more of a controlled event because we do have the press conference going on one part of the ring. So we'll have several of the Boys and Girls Clubs coming and participating, both co-ed, and we also have a group, we hear of about 30 girls who are going to be coming out. That's a big initiative that we're trying to roll out at the facility. That girls and women are underrepresented in Southeast Florida in hockey compared to the national average. And there's no excuse for that, right? We've got great athletes down here who are female and a lot of opportunities there. So that's one of the focuses that we're going to have at the new arena.
I just have one comment that I think that the Panthers, and I know it hadn't been always this way, but you've been very active in the community because I know like when I go to races, you're there, and then like the Stash Dash, I did that and it was great. Like you're very much like a part of the community, which is nice to see.
I have to give a shout out. I try to do this as much as I can because they are so humble about it, but John Colombo, Matt Smith, Matt Janis, the foundation community development people with the company. I'm newer here, right? I'm a transplant. I was a transplant from the East Coast to the West Coast as a young adult, but now I'm a transplant back. The first thing I noticed when I got here was how exceptional the outreach that they did in the community was. They have touched a huge number of the public schools and private schools as well throughout Broward County. And again, offered resources, what I would consider to be sustainable resources, like offering training and equipment so that our personnel doesn't have to be there for the kids to continue to enjoy participation. So thank you. And as I said, they're the best, and they'll never tell you. They're just very quiet and they go about doing amazing things.
That is.
Quick question, the time,
Yes, thank you. It's from 9 to 12. So, and what I started to say was, so from 9 to 10, we'll be having some activations on the rings with the Boys and Girls Club. The Saturday sweat event is going to start right at 9 with classes and all the activities. And then from about 10 to 12, on the roller rink, we're just going to have kids, adults can come, sign in, and get out on the rink, and we'll have instructors out there to introduce them to our sport.
This evening or tomorrow morning, I'll send Carl and Stephanie the time when the event's going to be.
Perfect.
There's also, you can always go to Florida Panthers /All-Star, or floridapanthers.com/all-star. And that has a list of everything that's going on now. And Carl, by the way, I was going to reach out to you tomorrow anyway, because we're hoping you might stop by during the press conference, or have someone that you might want to have stop by, because we'd love to have someone from Parks and Rec here to speak to what you'd like to see with the rink while we've got the press there.
And then I have to go to the pool.
Great, well, thank you.
So you guys are gonna send a link over to Parks and Rec for all this information?
Yeah, we'll do.
I'll send it to you.
Send it out and
Super.
they can
As
put it
soon
on
as
the
I get it,
website for
I'll
the
send it.
Civic Association.
One last note on this, we did this at the Vigor in Athleta Live Arena about 6 months ago, and it was awesome, great success, so, we thought we'd bring it as one of our signature events to Fort Lauderdale. Again, yes, we will send something like this out tomorrow with the times and the 5 Ws. But again, thank you for the time this evening, thank you for your partnership, both, at Holiday Park and on the beach to let us execute these events for the community. Any other questions?
Just to confirm, the location where it's gonna be around the roller hockey rink there, or right there at the gym area?
So both, so the Saturday sweat will be on the grassy area between the Parker and the War Memorial.
Okay.
And again, we can send out some overhead, aerial schematics where that's gonna be. And then there will be a press conference that takes place on the roller hockey rink at the beginning, and then it'll be opened up to some learn to play ball hockey events, kind of simultaneously with the Saturday sweat.
So you can't miss it when you're in the park?
Yeah.
Alright.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Yeah. Good news.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, appreciate it. No vote, there's no voting.
You already did that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice job, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Have a good evening.
Was there public comment? I'm sorry? Okay, gotcha, that makes sense, okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Alright, well, thank you for the. I know I missed one thing for Colliers,
We're gonna try to schedule our meetings at the chambers and just to give us some space and as well as the hearing, mics. So, we're gonna, and then when we don't have, if it's booked, we'll be up here. So just be on the lookout, cause I always underline and highlight and say 8th floor or first floor. So, just to let you guys know, we're gonna try to get downstairs.
Well, and the guys at the front are the best, they'll tell you.
Yeah, they will. They
Which way
will.
do I go?
Yeah, they will.
Totally meant to ask Colliers about the progress of the property acquisition for Central Beach.
Yeah,
But,
I've been asking for that for years now. Beach property,
Carl
so
will get us an
inexpensive.
there we go, there we go.
Yeah,
Anything
but
else for
standard,
Carl or anything?
I do have
for
one
good?
thing, I noticed we still don't have the open floor thing on the agenda, but I wanted to just touch base on the Snyder Park pickleball thing. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about it, some people over there by Snyder Park are asking questions. I'm just curious to know if that's something that's moving forward, or if that's like off the table now? Is there too many people playing for the pickleball courts, or?
There is a
Size of-
signed agreement, so.
Oh, it's moving forward. Can we get a, if there's been any update to the renderings or anything, can you guys send that out to the next, for
Sure, we
information?
can send you the latest, I mean, there haven't been any changes to it, but
So they're
we'll
still
send
gonna
it.
have the auditorium or some kind of like,
There will be a
band.
restaurant, there is some access,
Isn't it like
depending
a
on
band
the-
shell or something like that?
Theater kind of thing.
so,
there's quite a bit there,
It's like
I
a
wanna
park
say
in
there's like
Ocean, right?
30, 40 courts.
No, it's much bigger than that.
I mean, it sounded like it was really big, and then they
5
scaled it
acres.
down a little bit.
5 acres.
No, but the restaurant.
But I don't know where we're at now, that's why I'm
I
asking.
love Park and Ocean. Yeah, but it's nothing like Park and Ocean, it'll be way different than that.
Yeah, I don't know if we're there yet, just cause the developer, they have a signed agreement, and I could probably actually have them come in to do, to converse about, since it's essentially a done deal.
I mean, if it's moving forward, I think that'd be a good idea. A lot of people are
But
asking
isn't it the
questions.
same, they already came, they came last June, they didn't ask us for any approval or anything, they just showed it to us. And then it got approved by the commission.
Right,
If it
there's
has-
one of
if
those
it's
memory
changed
stamps,
from
right?
that, we'd like another presentation. If it hasn't changed from that, can you send that back out to everybody?
Yes.
Cause we did have a bunch of people that showed up that
They were
spoke,
against.
you know,
It was out of our
against
Right.
it, but I know it pretty much.
We were FYI only, is what we were.
City commission.
We're still an FYI.
Yeah, true.
For the association.
We're not even quasi,
the last commission meeting?
judicial.
No, but we knew that when they all came up, remember they all came here to talk.
Association's
We
presentation,
were like,
for
you
the
keep talking,
association.
we don't get to vote.
So there's still things going on, you might wanna.
Same thing with the Huizenga Park, same thing
And
with.
I don't wanna make a presentation.
Huizenga Park's not a park.
Right.
No.
City
It'd be
park.
worth
It's not a
like
city
maybe
park.
have.
Yeah.
I thought it was here
We're
first.
Say, give them money.
Have
So-
something to say about,
DDA.
you know, pro or against.
We are,
it,
the
maybe
city gave, I think they
show up to
given them money, the city will.
Yeah.
so that they can.
So,
Well, our voting is pretty much done.
yeah,
right?
the portions of this board is done.
Okay.
They're
But
really
just
true.
I've just been advised is that the coming,
Speak up, Rochelle.
there's gonna be
Have
some
you
more
moved to
dialogue
adjourn?
with the HOA.
Pardon?
Yeah, there's been some dialogue with with our commissioners and homeowners associations in that area, so there's still some conversations that are going to take place. So I just wanna make you aware of that. So once all of that gets aired out, and then at that point, we can think
But the
about.
contract's already signed, so
Right,
it's
but-
not like those conversations are gonna change anything.
But so there is a caveat that does allow the city to kind of move in a different direction. It's just that that'll be at the expense of the city at this point.
Well, yeah, there's nothing else for this board to,
Right,
I
there's
guess,
nothing else to.
but can we get just an update or even just resend out the old renderings?
Yeah, I'll send out
We have information, it's just that I
Just
think
the-
what we're trying to tell you is
Now that
let
we-
things settle between the
Yeah.
commission and the
Of course.
HOAs.
Yep,
So that the information we give you is actually updated and accurate.
yeah, that's all I'm.
I move to adjourn, Kylie.
Wait,
So I have a, for Carl, so this is probably like, in the last 6 months, maybe the third or fourth event that you're displacing the volleyball courts, the beach volleyball courts on South Beach. What would it take to get permanent courts just at Las Olas, so they don't always have to be like, now we can't play, now we can't get to the courts, now we gotta wait till they put them up, then till they get taken down and then put back up in the other spot, and you constantly displacing beach volleyball.
No, you're right, and that's also part of the ongoing discussion that our commission has to deal with when they vote to approve these events. As far as like placing it on the loop, I'm trying to think where would be an appropriate place, but
Well, they're supposed to be putting two nets or 4 nets up just off of Las Olas, just to the south of Las Olas on the beach.
oh, by
They
the
put
promenade, near the
four
promenade.
courts. Yeah, but 4 courts over there, and to just leave them up permanently.
Yeah, I can look into, where the status of that is and if there's some ongoing conversations about that.
Yeah, cause the city's losing a lot of business from people that travel to come play volleyball on those courts. And there were like 200 New Yorkers that came every year this time of year, and tied it into Super Bowl and tied it into just coming here and playing, and they're gone now because they came once and some festival was going on and they couldn't get on courts, and now they just go to Sarasota. They just stopped coming here. There's a lot of other people that travel to come play in the winter because they can't play, in their, Wisconsin and Michigan and stuff. So they come here to play. And they're very disappointed when they come here and they can't get on the beach.
There's so many events on the beach now. I kind of feel bad.
While we're on the subject of volleyball, I also used to play, and I'll also say that there's really a lack of illuminated beach volleyball courts at night. They used to have some really nice courts at Holiday Park. When they moved them, they never put up the lights there. And there's definitely no lighting on the beach for them because of the turtles and everything, so that's one of the big things I noticed that is lacking.
Have you
Part
ever
of
seen
the
the
bond, we're
turtles
actually gonna be
on A
adding
when they get
lights
rid of
to,
the white cars? That'll give you a
volleyball
little
courts
religion
also.
as far as why the lights are like that.
But also, it does ruin the equipment. A lot of volleyball was out there today, and they're saying the ropes get
Yeah.
busted, the nets get ripped by taking them up and down, and the city's not really replacing that. The equipment just gets shoddy when these events happen, and
Seems like there ought to be a permanent place.
yes,
Well, they got a lot of good tournaments down at South Beach. I mean, that's where all the big tournaments are, so.
Yeah, but
How
they
about
get-
Snyder Park?
That's not the beach,
You're gonna have-
that's not the
you're
beach,
gonna have to
Charlie.
Big sand,
you just bring it
Pickleball people, pickleball people
Big
will be
difference
standing there with
between
their
the ocean
rackets.
and next to the volleyball course, huge
Yeah.
difference.
Over by that smelly lake they have over there.
Exactly.
I remember
I
when that
can't
lake
make
was
motions, but there's only one thing left on the agenda.
Yeah, adjourn. Let's adjourn.
I second that
All
motion.
those in favor?
Here we go.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who adjourned?
Made the motion.
I did.
And who?
Alex.
Alex.
I seconded it.
Just email him that, just to remind him, Carl's gonna be good at getting back to you on stuff, but email him about the volleyball courts.
Thank you, everybody. Good night, everyone.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
Caleb, have a good time.
When I email, did you get the email I sent today?
Yes.
Whose email's on that?
Oh, nice shot. Play hockey or something?